Hello, everybody. This is Rev Sue Frederick, and tonight in this Patreon meeting, I'm giving my energy update for the 8th of August, which we're still in the middle of. So there's a lot to talk about. And then for the 9 coming in September. And these numbers are playing out exactly as the numbers would tell you that they are. It's so amazing to watch it. So, for example, we're halfway through the month of August, an 8 universal month within a 9 universal year. And the power play, 8 is the number of power. And it's often a struggle of, am I abusing my power? Am I giving away my power? What is the right use of power? So look at this world right now. We have National Guard filling the city of Washington, D.C. Is that the right use of power or not? I'm not going to answer that. That's for you to look at. But that's what the number 8 is all about. Look at the power. Choose what you feel about the right use of power. Learn from it. And then we look at the global stage with Putin and Trump and Zelensky and the Ukraine war and the power play that's going on here in these summits. Again, huge power play impacting the whole globe. This is so 8. This is so perfect for August. So, as you observe these world events, rather than getting completely sucked into the drama of it all, the concern, instead, really breathe into that 8 presence. And as we talked last month when we talked about the 8, on its side, the 8 is the infinity sign, the eternal use of power, the eternal struggle to understand the right use of power. All of this is playing out on the world stage. It is so interesting for us to get to watch it and see where it goes. So I always tell my people, don't go into the drama, observe it, study it, let the numbers help you analyze it and learn from it. We're still under the influence of the umbrella of the 9 universal year of 2025. And so everything that occurs is still getting affected by this energy of culmination, surrender, final and hardest lessons, all influencing how these power plays of August play out. Culmination of war between Russia and Ukraine, culmination of struggle in the relationship with Russia and Putin and where that's going to go, culmination of who is this president and how is he using his power. I do feel that in September, as the culmination of the 9 comes in, the influence of a 9 universal month in a 9 universal year, that many of these questions are going to be answered one way or the other. There will be no more kind of lingering drama, another summit. It's really going to come to a conclusion in September. So I made some notes about the energy of the 9. Three important pieces of the 9 are always number one, completion. Whatever the universe has worked on, or you personally have worked on for the last 9 years in your life, when you hit your 9 year, those lessons are complete. So if you apply that to the world, this cycle that we're now in a 9 universal year for started in 2017. So ask yourself, what were the global lessons we were beginning to ask and struggle with in 2017? They will now come to fruition and closure now in this year of 2025, but especially in September, the 9 month in the 9 year. It is going to be a whopper of a 9 month. So many things getting completed, resolved. And then number 9 also means compassion. So trying to find the compassion in our hearts that no matter how we may disapprove or dislike or be upset about something, we're able to bring the higher frequency of the 9 the big call for compassion to that question, to that relationship, to that viewpoint. Nine is not a number of using your power out in the world. It's really a number of sitting on the mountaintop and going, this is what I have learned. And being contemplative, really resolving in your heart the highest view of what's happening in your own life as well as in the world, and bringing compassion, understanding, and wisdom to it. That's a hard call. You know, when humanity hits the number nine, I keep hearing John Lennon's voice in my head in that Beatle album, number nine, number nine. He really did understand numbers in a very, he didn't know he was a numerologist, but he talked about numbers all the time. Um, the nine is always about completion, compassion, and wisdom. Let's observe it and see what we learn from it. The other piece of the nine is spiritual wisdom is required. You can't get through a 9 year. If you're in a nine personal year, you can't get through a nine universal year or a 9 month without bringing that higher perspective of your spiritual wisdom to the problem, to the world, to your life. Hard call again. You're being asked to step up from your ego self, from your anxiety mind, from your fear-based mind, and align with the higher principles of wisdom, compassion, surrender. And by surrender, I mean letting go of what you don't need, just as the world is learning to let go of what the world doesn't need. Because in January, we begin a new cycle in the universe, a one universal year. So when you think of endings in your own life, the first thing that has to happen is eliminate, reduce, get rid of whatever holds you back so that when the new cycle, the new energy comes in, you have room to create something new and better. Look at that play out on the world. All of in September, we will see what gets thrown out of the universal closet, what gets surrendered, what gets let go of in politics, so that as the new 1 year begins to creep into fruition in January, we begin to see, we are feeling empty. We are feeling cleaned out and ready to bring something new and better in. To me, that's a good thing. You know, 9 years can be hard when we resist change. But in this 9 month of September, there's no resisting allowed. It's going to happen, whatever's going to happen. So our graceful stance with it is with palms open in surrender to the highest good in my life and in the universe. Another piece of the nine that's really important, it's a call to serve humanity. Whenever I work with a nine path soul, we always talk about this because they have a great need in their heart and soul to do something good for the world, to be able to go to bed at night knowing they've made a difference. Now, because that is part of the nine frequency and September is such a 9 month and a 9 year, I do believe there will be a big action, a global action taking place to help each other, to help humanity for the greatest good. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen until there's a crisis, a world crisis of some kind, that we step forward to help each other. That could be what waits for us in September. But if it does, you know that your action to take is to say, how can I help? Not to waste your time going, I'm so upset about this. I'm so angry about this. Go to work, go help feed the hungry, go help provide solutions to the problems, especially as they emerge in September. Another big piece of the nine in September is forgiveness. You know, you can't go into the new part of your life, the new part of the universe's life, without forgiving those you are holding anger or um, um, grudges, feelings about, because that negative energy weighs you down. It keeps you from reinventing yourself to be your lightest, brightest, highest self. So, in your own personal life in September, it's really important that you do your forgiveness work. Get out your forgiveness journals, see who in your life you really need to forgive because that energy is hurting you, it's weighing you down. And you don't want any of that affecting you in September, or especially in the new one that comes in January. So think of your personal forgiveness work in September as being very important as part of this collective shift. Another piece is trusting your soul more than you trust the world. This is an important thing in the nine. It's a culmination of so many lessons that many times we find ourselves in life trying to fit in, trying to bend who we are, shape it to please others or to fit into the boxes that we're being told we need to fit into. But the nine says, I have learned a lot, and I am no longer bending who I am, reshaping my soul to try to fit in. I am going to speak from my heart, my soul, and my truth, and I am not going to back down in the nine. That's important for all of you, especially us women, because we definitely try to be the helpers, supporters, healers, be liked, be accepted. None of those actions serve us, but especially in a 9 year, we have to shed all of that and say, this is who I am. This is my truth. Like it or leave it. This is who I am. That's your call, especially in September. Another piece is in your own personal life, create your own personal completion list. And what I mean by this is you need to complete whatever you may have started on a small, you might just say, well, I started to reorganize the kitchen a few months ago, so I've got to go complete that. Or I started to write an ebook, so I need to go complete that. Or I started to launch a new part of my business, so I need to complete it and get it out to the world. These are really important things because if you miss the energy of that completion of the nine, then often that project never gets finished. It'll just linger on and on. Maybe you started cleaning your closet out at the beginning of the summer. Well, go back in there and finish it now because you don't want these not completed things dragging behind you as the new energy begins to come in. For the universe, this is also true. Whatever things you've seen our politics, our country, our world struggling with for the last 9 years, the lessons, the duties, the jobs will all come to some form of completion. You can go back and look at all of those things. Power questions about what role does a president play, power questions about our country and the definition of our country, on, all meant to be completed in September in this 9 year. And then finally, I suggest that for the month of September, you do a 9 minute a day meditation where you personally turn into your higher self and you quiet your mind and you ask, what do I need to surrender? What do I need to surrender from my heart, from my life, from my mind in order to step into my next and new, brightest and highest self? Breathe into the space that gives us, the opening, the new energy, that idea that we carry things around inside of us that need to be released, that has to be paid attention to this month, September in 2025. So 9 minutes a day of meditating on what you need to surrender and then getting out your journal, pen and paper and writing those things down. And it could be anger at the world. It could be relationships that are toxic. It could be holding yourself in a career that doesn't fit you anymore. All of that has to go. It all has to be surrendered. So that is my energy take for completing August and then moving into September. So I'm gonna ask if anybody wants to start with questions right now. This is a good time. You have to unmute, don't forget. Oh, I see. Wait, there's a setting here. Sorry, sorry. Okay, can you unmute now?
I could. I have a question. I actually had three, but we'll see
Mhm,
if they come through. How do we integrate the universal year that we are in, nine,
mhm.
with the personal? So
Yeah,
say I'm doing the nine, but I'm in a two, or we're in a universal year one, and then it's a nine personal. And then because numerology feels like multi-layered, the pinnacles, the
yeah,
personal,
it is very
mom.
multi-layered. But the
Yeah,
way we look at the universal year is it always has a big global impact. In other words, your personal life is always affected by what's happening in the world at large, whether that means the economy, or world wars or any of that stuff. Your personal life and relationships in your 2 year that you're in, where you're focused on connection and healing and relationships, it is being influenced by the politics of the nine of the world, whether that means the cost of living is causing stress in your family or your life or any of those things. The overarching piece of it will always be the universal nine. So, for example, my husband and I will say, oh, I'm feeling this or feeling that, and we'll say, well, don't forget you're also feeling the influence of the nine in the universe right now and how that's affecting you. That helps you to back away from some intense feelings you might have that you don't know where they're coming from. You can kind of put them in their right place. Oh, that belongs to the world right now. I just need to kind of lift that off of my shoulders and really focus on my personal year. I'm in a six personal year. And that has been so perfect. Six is the number of home, heart, all of those things. Every person that I've lost who's been very important in my life, they've always exited when I was in a 6 year. So when my mother was going through her health struggles, I knew they were lingering for years and years, and I just knew in my 6 years when she's going to cross, because then I had to go to the funeral. I had to go back to where I grew up. So much home, so much heart, so much family and community all came up in my 6 year, and yet at the same time, overridden by the nine, meaning so much conflict in the world of politics and all of that we couldn't talk about many, many things together, but we were kind, we were compassionate. We did step into the energy of compassion and wisdom and kindness under the influence of that nine. It was like we had all known finally that there was no sense arguing our viewpoints and our politics. We had maybe learned that in the eight universal year. And now we were surrendering it, and everyone was sweet to each other at my mom's funeral, which was perfect for my sixth personal year. So, yeah, it's very complicated and layered, but when you understand it, it's also very perfect. Did that answer your question?
yeah, and actually you touched upon the next question I had, how the six and the nine, because you mentioned it, they
Yes,
look like the yin and the
the yin
yang.
and the yang.
That's
Absolutely. I
similar.
know.
To that, it made me wonder, like, well, what is it about the six and the nine? They kind of fit together.
They absolutely do. And when you see that repeated in your life, so for example, when I'm in every time that I'm in a six personal year, it's a nine universal year, and going and watching how that works. And then the interesting thing is that in my life, my husband and my daughter are always in a nine personal year at the same time that it's a nine universal year. So when they go into their nines, the universe is in a nine, and I'm in a six. So much of my energy goes out to them, trying to help them navigate their lives. And they always have pretty challenging years in those 9 years. And so a lot of my intentions and a lot of my love and focus is going out to them to help them with it. And that's a repeated cycle. I've been with my husband for like 25 years and I've had my daughter for 31 years. And I've just every time I'm in a 6 year, okay, well, this is really about Jean and Sarah, you know? So you learn those patterns and you learn how to work with them.
So they do repeat themselves then.
Yeah.
I haven't calculated, so I don't know
Hmm.
having it again. Wow, that is fascinating. It also maybe there's something there about the resonance of the frequency with your soul posse and your daughter and your husband, how you're having this mix of energy for things that need to be healed or enjoyed in this
That's
life.
it. Yes, that's absolutely right. You can, as you feel into all of these numbers and configurations, it's so enlightening because you really do see the bigger patterns of divine order and the lessons, that are unfolding. They're all so beautiful. The numbers are always showing us that there's a beautiful divine order in this universe run by the loving God source. None of it is random. And that's hard for humans because, we see terrible tragedies happen. It all seems so pointless and random, but there are incredible spiritual wisdom lessons in all of it. And in this year that has been so hard for so many people, the surrender of the nine is a very important lesson because it says, surrender all of that drama and focus on yourself and coming to your own completion with your work, with your learning, with your heart, with your wisdom. And when we can do that, the growth and evolution is for ourselves is really off the charts. This is the year that I was able to channel in three angel books, my three angel up trilogy books. I had no idea that was coming, and it started in March, and they were complete by June, and it was thrilling. And it was such a surrender what you know and what you think, Sue. Let it just pour through you. And the nine often brings work to us that we have prepared for and prepared for and prepared for, and we're finally ready. And when that nine happens, we bring it out of ourselves to the world. So, and you had another point in that question, but I can't remember what it was. I hope I've answered it all. Anybody else have a question about the nine universal and nine universal month of September, how this eight universal month of August is playing out, which is, it's if you ever had to look for an example of a perfect eight universal month, this August has to be it. It really, really is. So, any more questions, insights, any of that? I can't see you really. So if you want to speak, just unmute yourself.
I found an insight, if I may. I liked how you did the infinity on the side. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started to think about this when I was doing my meditation, that the numbers choose a particular design
Oh, yeah.
that is embedded in the message.
That's
Like the nine
exactly
looks like
right.
it's a standing pregnant woman, or
Yes.
at the top of a mast of a sailor ship, looking
Yes.
to get the full perspective, right? So I feel like even the way you start the nine, and then there's that completion, and then it stakes it on the ground.
One. Yes. One. And
Yeah, one.
yeah.
Exactly. I was
I have
thinking,
always found that to be true, and sometimes I can't logically explain it to people because when I've learned the numbers, they've so often come to me through my right brain, through my knowingness, through my intuition. And then I try to go, do you see how the seven looks like a tool, like you're picking away at something, and that's analytical, that's very seven. That's like studying what's beneath this. I want to understand it. That's so seven. And once you can explain it to people, they kind of go, oh, yeah, I can sort of see that. I also think it's fascinating how the eight is two threes back to back, the three and the eight, because also that makes 11. And every eight path has an 11 soul agreement with the three paths. And so that's a very common love connection. The eight and the three come together, fall in love, and they have the 11 soul agreement. And we look at the shapes of the numbers, two threes create the eight. It's all so beautiful. It is just all so very, very beautiful. All right, my beloveds, if there's no more questions or comments, then I will let you all go for tonight. And just remember that in October, we get a preview of the coming 1 year. I love it the way the numbers do that for us. Every October, we have a universal month that is a preview of the universal year that's coming. So, October is a 1 month, meaning that we'll begin to see and feel the energy of the new 1 year that's coming in 2026. So, that's always so insightful and so helpful. And in your own personal life, it is true as well. So, in October, you will be having kind of a preview month of what your next personal year is going to look like. So I will have a preview of a 7 personal month in October because I have a 7 personal year coming in January. So some things will happen where I'll go, oh, this is the energy of my 7 personal year coming up. You get this little preview. It's just beautiful.
I have a question. And does November become two or an 11 path?
I always keep November as an 11, but you can't, of course, it digits down in the number two, and you can't forget that. The 22 is always connected to the four, the 11 is always connected to the two, the 33 is always connected to the six.
Mm.
So in November, when we have that 11, there is a choice, there's a question being asked in that month. Do I step into the higher frequency of the 11 and really feel that God connection, that incredible love, that pure intuition connection to the divine of the 11? Or do I really kind of tone it down to the two and just focus on small connection and relationship, details of life? Let me clean the house and cook a turkey, all that November stuff. Or am I really breathing into the bigger message of November of gratitude, family, connection, those beautiful energies that begin to coagulate in November and December of bringing us together for healing and connection. So I will let you all think about all those things. And again, you can also email me with your number questions. But
Mhm.
won't it be fun to see what comes to completion and culmination in September?
Mm.
So I pray and bless all of us on our journeys, knowing that these numbers guide us so perfectly and how brilliantly we get to watch and observe them, trusting always that there is a higher divine order at play, even if we can't see it in the moment. And so it is. Love you all so much, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Sue.
All
So
right.
much, Sue.
Bye-bye.